Let's turn to business news now with Giles Beckford, and business confidence has taken a dip. Giles, our business editor, amid signs the economy is levelling out.
Yes, it's the first serious look at the economic sentiment this year, John, from the ANZ Bank. They do monthly surveys. They're pretty good indicators of the way the economy is faring and the way firms are thinking about their own businesses and the broader picture. This one shows a 5 percentage point dip in the overall level of confidence, but firms are still pretty upbeat about their own prospects, which is always a good sign and a pretty good indicator that activity is bubbling along quite nicely. But there are a few signs. We couldn't expect that it could keep going at the breakneck speed it had been last year. People are finding it a little harder to get the right skilled staff. They're finding higher interest rates is starting to just cost them a little bit more. They're expecting higher inflation, and that will add to their costs. By the same token, they expect their profits will come down and they'll be investing less. So while we're not going at a gallop as we were last year, perhaps we're going at a canter, and just a wee bit of a reality check for this time of the year.
Yeah, speaking of reality checks, the company which runs Marsden Point, I see from your notes, has had a sharp old slide in profit, has it, Giles?
They did indeed. This is New Zealand Refining. They run the Marsden Point refinery. Now, it's more a comment about the year before last, in fact, 2015, which they call a trophy year. This is when world oil prices were down at rock bottom lows. Their profit margins, their processing margins were sky high. They ripped in $151 million profit in 2015. That came down to $47 million or thereabouts last year. What I did like, we won't give you the dry numbers, what I did like about the result was a couple of little comments by the chief executive, who said, when these big jumbos that are flying in non-stop from the Middle East land in Auckland and they're headed back to Qatar or Dubai, they need about 250,000 litres of avgas. That's all coming from Marsden Point. That is pumped direct from Marsden Point to Auckland Airport. It ties up that pipeline for 4 minutes to fill one plane going 17,000 Ks. So just bear that one in mind. And Sjoerd Post, who is the chief executive, he laughs at the prospect. I suppose he's not laughing too loudly, but he smirks at this all the talk of electric cars. He says we had 300,000 new vehicles last year. Most of them were SUVs. Thank you very much. He says you're boosting the sales of the diesel that I make.
Right. The markets, Giles, how did they go today?
We've had a gangbuster day for our own top 50 index, gaining 79 points. That's about 1.2%, somewhere around 71.58 to close. The New Zealand dollar just sitting around that 72 US cents level and 93.5 Australian.
Giles Beckford, our business editor, live from Wellington. Thanks, Giles.